Hey guys, how's it going? It's Aussie Reefer Anton here. Just wanted to come out, give you a video on how to replace the 4-stage RODI system, do a complete full rebuild of it. I've had a bit of algae coming up on the glass on the reef tank here. I really want to make sure my RODI system is fully clean so I have no issues with algae. So yeah, we'll get into it. And as you can see, it's looking a little bit worse for wear. For now, I need to replace these filters. Unfortunately, TDS meter that I had, as you can see, it got wet. So we're just going to replace the filters, all 4 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So guys, these are the resin beads that we'll be replacing. They live in your last chamber, and then there is a 5 micron reverse osmosis pre-filter cartridge. You have your RO membrane carbon block. That is the whole kit you need for this RO filter to replace it. The only tool you'll need is the hand wrench that comes with your RODI system. That filter wrench is how you get these 3 canisters off the system. If you haven't done this for as long as I have, which is probably way too long, this will be a pain to get off. I've loosened it off now, but even then, it does take a bit to unspin this. I ain't worried about how hard these 2 will be to take off, that's for sure. So once you have it loose, put it back up vertical, unwind, and yeah, there is water still in the system. Hopefully it's not too much. Yes, that's what I was saying. Just gotta be careful of the water that is still in the system. And go ahead and tip that down the drain. Now this RODI resin has an inner and outer tube. The inner tube is what holds your resin. It is color changing resin, so if you can see at the top here, that blue is still good resin. But if you look a bit further down, it's not so blue anymore. It is very much a brown. That means the qualities of this resin have been used up and require replacing. Probably bring a towel with you as well. I probably should have said that at the start. So twists from the bottom. Maybe give it a few taps so all the resin goes down. A few taps. And that's your resin. All you want to do is tip it in your bin. It's not the prettiest looking stuff, but now that's out, you can give it a clean. Tap water is fine. I'm unsure if this green colour is actually algae that's grown on it, or if it's just residue from the resin. But if you have any idea if that's normal, maybe just put in the comments. Take your RODI resin that goes into that container, just open it up, make it nice and easy. Don't be afraid, there is a zip lock there too to keep it airtight. You just want to open it up. That's what the good RODI resin looks like. Blue and some white. If you get on your fingers, try not to because it will spread everywhere. If you have a funnel, use a funnel. If not, just go pour it in nice and slow. You're going to give it a few taps, just get all the resin to settle down to the bottom, so then you can fit more resin in. So I did manage to get all that in there. Now, onto the second filter. So let's get into it and find out. Same thing, using the hand wrench, undo it, break the seal until you can open it up. You can undo it by hand, and then just unwind. Alright, as you can see, full of water once again. Try not to spill the water. I've clearly had this filter for a very long time, so I just tipped all this, the water that was in here, down the drain, and that is one filthy filter. That is the carbon block. So that's yeah, quite a different colour compared to what it is meant to be. Just remember the orientation too of the way we've pulled it out. What it looks like is what's happened is that when I'm looking at this, let me move this out of the way. When I'm looking at this, what I've noticed is this is clean, this outside bit is dirty. So there's actually a seal on this one, and there's a seal on the bottom. So I'm actually missing this seal. It is more than likely, if I just reach up under here, there it is. So just be careful when you're removing these things that you have removed all of your seals, and it's quite gross. So old seal can go in the bin, you get new seals with your new carbon block, and they look to be universal up and down. Doesn't look to be like it goes in or one way or another. So in the bin the old one goes. So another tool you need, scissors. So now that we've got a new carbon filter out of the sleeve, put it next to the old carbon filter, and you can really look at that difference. That is probably 2 years old, that carbon block. Probably replace it sooner than 2 years. There's a lot of built up stuff like on the inside of this tube, so I'm just going to wash this out. As you can tell, a lot cleaner. All that stuff took on the inside was just a microfiber cloth and tap water. She's nice and clean. So you've got no seal at the bottom. You basically made sure you removed all your old seals. Slide your carbon filter in. Make sure it sits in there nicely. Once again, use RODI water if you're really pedantic and you're keeping SPS. But I'm a little bit of a lazy reefer, so I'll just use tap water to clean that. And my theory is, as soon as you run tap water through your RODI system, it's going to come out clean anyways at the end, isn't it? So maybe just at the end, run your RODI system for an hour to clean out any residue of what you've just fixed and solved. So screw that back on to the RODI reservoir. Go ahead and screw this on back to where it came from. Now tighten it back up with your hand wrench. Perfect, just nipped up. Now, on to the next one. Looking at the cylinders here and the cylinder on top, this next filter, large filter, is going to be your pre-filter cartridge. I expect this to look very, very dirty. So, loosening, that was quite easy to loosen up. Once again, stand up, because we're probably going to have a waterfall. As this RODI filter does live outside, there are a few bugs that spill too much water. And yeah, this is disgusting. So that's gross. That's out of probably 2 years out of using this. And that's the pre-filter. Oh, it's all slimy as well. We'll do a side-by-side comparison. New versus old. You can see why they need to be replaced. If you have SPS, you probably won't even get your reef RODI system that dirty, because that's gross. As well as this, once again, just going to clean it out. Alright, opening this up. Once again, don't leave it this long. That's new filter. Don't think there's any top or bottom. So there is a little thing at the bottom there. We'll just line it up in that so it sits nicely in there. I'm not too sure if you can fit this in correctly, but just be careful, because if you do, it probably won't work properly. We'll make sure this lines up with the dowel in this. I'm going to put it in this first. Just drop it on. it'll more than likely be too difficult to screw on if you've got it fitted incorrectly. So tighten it up with your hammer wrench, screw it in there. Perfect. Alright, onto the last filter, this top filter. Now this top filter does require more steps. You have tubing here that needs to be removed, so then you can replace it, and you have tubing over here that needs to be removed, so you can replace it. With this tubing here, all you do to pull it out is push it in, hold the collar down, pull the tubing out. It'll come out straight away. Actually, we'll leave that side because I believe I can just untwist this. Pull it out of its casing, out of its little tabs here. Make sure that's clear. So just it's quite a tight fit. As you can see, the outside's pretty dirty, as it does live outside. Now you just unscrew that by hand. Once again, lefty loosey, righty tighty. And there is your RODI membrane. So that's your reverse osmosis element. That's the RO part of the filter. And then the DI is your DI resin that we fitted in the first place. That is where they get the name RODI. Stanley pliers, normal pliers, they'll do the job. You can buy these from Bunnings or any hardware store. And wow. Once again, remember how this comes out, because it will go in the same way. It came out with this top seal and this little nodule bit with no seals on it out that way. So if you get it wrong, just go back through the video and you'll figure it out. This one doesn't look too dirty. I'll just give it a rinse out. Alright, so I've gone ahead and cleaned that as best as I could. Relatively clean. We'll go ahead and open our reverse osmosis membrane. You got two seals at the bottom here. Give them a bit of a wipe with some water, as they will go into your RODI resin. Then just slide that on in. Make sure it gives it. There's two seals in there. We want to make sure that they slide in properly. There we go. Perfect. So you saw before it was sticking out a little bit. You just want to make sure it's all the way in. Now, once again, that was not too bad. Give it a bit of a wipe. Give it a bit of a rinse. Now that that's rinsed off, what we need to do is screw it back together. And that is your RO section of your filter. Oh, these clamps are a bit old, so they're very stiff too. Try and put it back the same way that it was before or previously. That way you know where everything lives. This goes back into here where we pulled it out from. This was my wastewater line. So guys, now that the 4-stage RODI unit filters have been replaced, I can go ahead and connect my hose adapter that I've made up to the tap. So this is what makes it easy. This is tank water as well. You can hear it filling up. I believe I might have to put my what do you call it? My what's it called? TDS meter. Yeah. I'll have to put my TDS meter back into that, I believe, as it will probably spill out water. Outlet hose, my good outlet hose, but the hose on the top, the height is not an issue for the RO water to run all the way up. Taps on, we're running. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is pressure. And if you look over here, our wastewater line is wasting water. That water might take a while for the water to fill up, just based on the fact that we did just go ahead and change all the membranes, and the water is not running, probably not running through the membranes. It does take a fair amount of water. Normally, I have it running back to the tank, the water tank. As I said, I thought I might have had to fix this hose back up. As I said, TDS meter didn't work. We'll just cut off the probe so I can put it back in the probe mount. That way, we don't leak any water through there. So it just pushes in, perfect. It'll just block off that. So guys, that's it. It's all done. I've replaced my 4 filters, resin, my membrane, my carbon filter, and my pre-filter. And I've got RODI water out there making at the moment. The old RODI water that I think is a bit iffy, I'll probably use in the freshwater tank, which is over there, which is behind you guys. And yeah, so hoping that the algae gets off the glass. And yeah, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'll try and bring out more as it goes on about my Reef 400 reef tank. This is Aussie Reefer Anton, signing out.